In this powerful and inspiring story, Sam Jefferson is a young basketball player with big dreams but faces the harsh reality of racism in his small town. Despite his undeniable talent, Sam is rejected by his school's basketball coach, who refuses to give him a fair chance because of where he comes from. Determined not to let prejudice define his future, Sam fights to prove his worth on and off the court. With the support of his family and friends, he gets a second chance through a new league and catches the attention of a scout who sees his potential. This emotional journey is filled with suspense, unexpected twists, and a powerful message about overcoming adversity and standing up for what's right. Watch as Sam battles against the odds to claim his place, not just in basketball, but in a world that often tries to hold him back. This is more than just a story about sports. It's about resilience, courage, and the fight for fairness. Will Sam rise to the challenge and change the game forever? If you love stories about overcoming challenges and following your dreams, you're in the right place. Before we dive into this inspiring journey of determination and resilience, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and tap the notification bell so you never miss out on more exciting content. Your support helps us bring more incredible stories to life. Let's get started. The sun hung low over the small town of Maplewood, casting a golden hue on the houses and streets. It was late afternoon, and the familiar sound of basketballs hitting the concrete echoed through the quiet neighborhood. Kids from all over Maplewood were gathering at Oak Ridge Middle School for the basketball tryouts. Among them was Sam Jefferson, a 13-year-old boy with dreams as big as the sky. Basketball was Sam's passion. It was the one place where he felt completely free. The feel of the ball in his hands, the sound of the swoosh as it went through the hoop, it gave him a sense of purpose, something to look forward to every day. Sam had been practicing for months, shooting hoops in the alley behind his house until the streetlights flickered on. His older brother, Jason, had been a local legend on the court, and Sam wanted nothing more than to follow in his footsteps. But there was one thing that loomed over Sam's excitement like a dark cloud: Coach Paul Anderson. Coach Anderson had been coaching the Oak Ridge basketball team for as long as anyone could remember. He was strict, tough, and some said he had his own way of choosing players. But there was something else about Coach Anderson, something unspoken yet widely known. He had a reputation for only picking certain kinds of players who looked like him, who came from the same part of town, and whose families had the right connections. And for kids like Sam, that meant one thing: they were never given a real chance. Sam's family had lived in Maplewood for generations, but they lived in the part of town that people like Coach Anderson didn't visit. It wasn't something Sam talked about, but he felt it in the stares he got at school, in the whispers that followed him down the hall. Maplewood wasn't a big town, but it was divided in ways that were easy to see if you looked close enough. Sam stood in front of the mirror that morning, staring at his reflection. His brown skin, tight curls, and lean frame reminded him of his father. His father had always told him to hold his head high, no matter what anyone said or did, but Sam couldn't shake the nervous feeling in his stomach. His mother, Sandra, called from the kitchen. "Sam, breakfast is ready. You need to eat something before tryouts." Sam sighed and grabbed his sneakers. He knew his mother was trying to calm his nerves, but nothing could take away the weight he felt pressing down on his shoulders. He had to prove himself today, not just for him, but for everyone who had been told they weren't good enough. At the gym, the air buzzed with excitement. Boys were already running drills, laughing and talking about how they couldn't wait to make the team. Sam walked in, his heart racing. He spotted Coach Anderson standing on the sidelines, his arms crossed as he watched the boys. Sam felt his stomach twist when he saw who Coach Anderson was talking to: Ethan Carter. Ethan was the star player from last year and had already secured his spot on the team. His father was on the school board, and Ethan had never had to worry about tryouts. He was the kind of player Coach Anderson liked: tall, blonde, and from the right neighborhood. Sam walked over to the other boys, dribbling his ball nervously. His friend Marcus, who had come from the same neighborhood as Sam, was already there. Marcus was just as good as Sam, maybe even better, but Sam could see the same nervousness in his eyes. "You ready for this?" Marcus asked, bouncing the ball to Sam. "Yeah, I guess," Sam replied, though his voice betrayed his doubt. Marcus grinned, trying to lift the mood. "Come on, man, we got this. Just play your game." Sam nodded, but as he glanced back at Coach Anderson, he couldn't shake the feeling that no matter how well he played, it wouldn't be enough. The tryouts began, and Sam was on fire. He dribbled past defenders, made quick passes, and sank three-pointers with ease. The gym echoed with the sound of cheering and clapping. Sam felt the thrill of the game take over, and for a moment, he forgot all about Coach Anderson and his worries. But as the drills went on, Sam noticed something unsettling. Every time he made a good play, Coach Anderson seemed to look away. When Ethan missed a shot, Coach Anderson gave him a pat on the back and a nod of encouragement. When Marcus executed a perfect pass, Coach Anderson barely glanced at him. It was as if Sam and Marcus didn't exist. The final whistle blew, and Coach Anderson gathered the boys around him. Sam's heart raced as he wiped the sweat from his brow. This was it. This was his chance to prove himself. Coach Anderson began calling out names, one by one. Ethan, of course, was the first name. Then came the others, boys who had barely made a shot, who had fumbled passes and tripped over their own feet. But still, no Sam. No Marcus. Finally, the list was complete, and Sam's name hadn't been called. Sam felt his stomach drop. He clenched his fists, trying to keep his emotions in check. He wanted to scream, to ask why, but he knew the answer already. It wasn't about skill or talent. It was about something else, something that had nothing to do with basketball. As the other boys celebrated, Sam walked over to Coach Anderson, his heart pounding. "Coach, I don't understand," Sam said, his voice steady but filled with pain. "I worked hard. I played well. Why didn't I make the team?" Coach Anderson didn't even look at him. "We need players who fit the team style. Maybe next year, kid." Sam stood there stunned. He wanted to say more, but what was the point? The decision had already been made. As Sam walked home, the weight of the day pressed down on him. He felt like he was carrying the entire world on his shoulders. His hands shook with anger and frustration. It wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about being seen, about being treated fairly, and he hadn't been. When he got home, his mother was waiting for him in the kitchen. One look at Sam's face, and she knew what had happened. "He didn't pick you, did he?" she asked softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. Sam shook his head, unable to speak. He felt the lump in his throat growing bigger, but he refused to cry. His mother sat down beside him. "Listen to me, Sam. That man doesn't define your worth. You're talented, and you have a gift. Just because he can't see it doesn't mean it's not there." Sam nodded, but his heart still felt heavy. "But it's not fair, Mom. I did everything right, and it still wasn't enough." His mother looked him in the eyes. "Life isn't always fair, Sam, especially for people like us. But you have to keep going. You have to rise above it. One day, you'll show them. You'll show them all." Sam knew she was right, but it didn't make the pain go away. He spent the next few days avoiding basketball altogether. He didn't want to think about the team or the tryouts. Every time he walked past the court, it reminded him of what he had lost. But then something unexpected happened. A new league was starting up in town, a youth basketball league that wasn't connected to the school. It was open to everyone, and Sam's brother Jason had heard about it. He encouraged Sam to join, but Sam wasn't sure. "I don't know, Jason. What's the point? I'm never going to be good enough." Jason looked at him with a serious expression. "Sam, it's not about being good enough for them. It's about being good enough for you. You love this game, right?" Sam nodded. "Then don't let anyone take that away from you. Not Coach Anderson, not anyone." Sam thought about it for a while, and eventually, he decided to give the new league a shot. The first practice was on a Saturday morning, and Sam showed up feeling nervous but determined. The coach of the new team was a man named Mr. Davis. He was different from Coach Anderson in every way. He was kind, encouraging, and most importantly, he believed in giving everyone a fair chance. Sam quickly realized that this team was different too. It wasn't about who had the right connections or who came from the right neighborhood. It was about playing the game and having fun. Sam thrived under Mr. Davis's coaching. He practiced harder than ever before, and with each game, he grew more confident. His teammates respected him, and he felt like he was finally part of something that mattered. As the season went on, Sam's team started winning games. Word spread around town about the talented young player who was lighting up the court. People began showing up to watch his games, including kids from school who hadn't paid attention to Sam before. Then, one day, something unexpected happened. Sam's team was playing in the semifinals of the Youth League Championship. The gym was packed, and the atmosphere was electric. But as Sam warmed up on the court, he spotted a familiar face in the crowd, Coach Anderson. Sam felt his heart skip a beat. Why was Coach Anderson here? Was he scouting players for next year's school team? Or was he just curious to see what all the fuss was about? As the game started, Sam pushed the thought of Coach Anderson out of his mind and focused on the game. He played with more intensity than ever before, driving to the basket, making crisp passes, and sinking shot after shot. The crowd was on their feet, cheering as Sam's team pulled ahead. But as the game went on, Sam noticed something strange. Coach Anderson wasn't just watching, he was taking notes. Sam could feel Coach Anderson's eyes on him every time he made a play. It made him uneasy, but he didn't let it distract him. When the final buzzer sounded, Sam's team had won. The crowd erupted in cheers, and Sam's teammates hoisted him onto their shoulders. It was the best moment of Sam's life. As Sam climbed down from his teammates' shoulders, he spotted Coach Anderson walking towards him. Sam felt a knot form in his stomach. What was he going to say? "Sam," Coach Anderson said, stopping in front of him. "You played one heck of a game." Sam stared at him, unsure of what to say. Coach Anderson cleared his throat. "I've been watching your games for a while now, and I've seen how much you've improved. I think I made a mistake during tryouts." Sam couldn't believe what he was hearing. "I'd like to offer you a spot on the school team," Coach Anderson continued. "We're heading into the championship next month, and we could use a player like you." Sam's mind raced. This was what he had wanted all along, a chance to prove himself, to show that he belonged. But now that the offer was on the table, something didn't feel right. Sam thought about all the times Coach Anderson had ignored him, all the times he had looked right through him. And now, suddenly, Sam was good enough? Only after proving himself outside of Coach Anderson's world? Sam took a deep breath and looked Coach Anderson in the eyes. "I appreciate the offer, Coach, but I'm happy where I am." Coach Anderson looked taken aback. "You don't want to play for the school team?" Sam shook his head. "No, I don't." Coach Anderson frowned, clearly not expecting this answer. "But this is your chance to be part of something bigger, to play for the championship." Sam smiled. "I already am part of something bigger. I'm part of a team that believes in me." With that, Sam turned and walked away, feeling lighter than he had in a long time. He didn't need Coach Anderson's approval to be great. He didn't need to prove himself to anyone but himself. And that was enough. As Sam walked away from Coach Anderson, the weight that had been on his shoulders for so long seemed to disappear. He didn't need to seek validation from people like Coach Anderson anymore. Sam had found a team that believed in him, and that was more than enough. But Maplewood wasn't a place where stories like Sam's went unnoticed. The small town was buzzing with news of Sam's decision. At school the next day, whispers followed him down the hallway. "Did you hear? Sam turned down the school team," one kid said. "Why would he do that?" "It's the championship," another added. Sam held his head high, but inside, he was still unsure if he had made the right choice. The school championship was a big deal, and everyone would be watching. Part of him had wanted that spotlight, the chance to finally show the entire town what he was capable of. But the other part, the stronger part, knew that Coach Anderson didn't deserve him, not after everything. A few days later, Sam's phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "We need to talk after school. Meet me at the court." Sam felt a flicker of worry. Marcus had been supportive throughout the whole ordeal, but there was something about that message that made Sam uneasy. After school, he grabbed his basketball and headed to the court where he and Marcus often practiced. When he arrived, Marcus was already there, dribbling the ball with a serious look on his face. Sam could tell something was bothering him. "What's up?" Sam asked, tossing his backpack onto the grass. Marcus sighed and threw the ball to Sam. "Why didn't you take Coach Anderson's offer? I mean, you worked so hard for this." Sam bounced the ball a few times before answering. "I thought about it, but after everything, I couldn't do it. He didn't believe in me, and now that I've proven myself, he suddenly wants me? It doesn't feel right, Marcus." Marcus looked down at the ground. "I get it, but man, this is the championship. We've dreamed about this since we were kids. Don't you want to show everyone how good you are? Don't you want to prove him wrong?" Sam stopped dribbling and sat down on the bench. "Of course I want to prove him wrong. But not on his terms. I don't need to play for him to show how good I am." Marcus sat down next to him. "Yeah, but this is bigger than just you and Coach Anderson. If you play, you could show everyone that you deserve to be on that team. You could change things for other kids who go through the same thing." Sam hadn't thought about it that way before. Marcus had a point. It wasn't just about him anymore. It was about the other kids in town who had been overlooked, the kids who weren't given a fair chance because of the way they looked or where they came from. Sam felt a new kind of weight on his shoulders, one that wasn't about proving himself, but about doing what was right for others. "I don't know, Marcus," Sam said quietly. "I don't want to give Coach Anderson the satisfaction of thinking he was right all along." Marcus nodded. "I get that, man. But maybe this isn't about Coach Anderson anymore. Maybe it's about showing people that things need to change." Sam was quiet for a long time, thinking about what Marcus had said. He had always wanted to make a difference, to prove that he could overcome the odds, but this was bigger than he had imagined. If he played, he could be a symbol for something greater than just basketball. But it would mean going back to the place that had rejected him. Later that night, Sam lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. His mind raced with thoughts of the championship game, of Coach Anderson, of his teammates. He knew that if he accepted Coach Anderson's offer, it would be a battle. He would face kids who had been chosen over him, and he would have to play for a coach who had never believed in him. But at the same time, it would be a chance to stand up and show everyone that talent and heart mattered more than skin color or connections. The next morning, Sam made his decision. He walked into the gym, where Coach Anderson was holding practice for the upcoming championship. The boys on the team were running drills, laughing and joking as if nothing had ever happened. Coach Anderson spotted Sam and walked over, a look of surprise on his face. "Sam, didn't expect to see you here. Have you reconsidered my offer?" Sam looked Coach Anderson straight in the eye. "I'll play. But not for you." Coach Anderson raised an eyebrow. "What do you mean?" "I'm playing for Marcus, for every kid you've overlooked because of where they come from or what they look like. If I'm going to be on this team, things need to change." Coach Anderson's expression hardened. "You don't get to make demands, Sam. You play by my rules." Sam stood his ground. "Then I won't play at all." The gym went quiet as the other boys stopped to watch the confrontation. Coach Anderson looked around, realizing that everyone was listening. After what felt like an eternity, Coach Anderson let out a sigh. "All right, Sam. You've got a point. I've been hard on you, and maybe I didn't give you the chance you deserved. But if you're going to be on this team, you need to be ready to give it everything you've got." Sam nodded. "I will. But I'm not just playing for this team, I'm playing to prove that things need to be fair for everyone." With that, Sam joined the team for practice. The tension in the gym was thick, but Sam felt a new sense of purpose. This wasn't just about winning a championship anymore, it was about standing up for what was right. The days leading up to the championship were intense. The team practiced harder than ever, and Sam quickly proved that he was one of the best players on the court. But there were still moments of tension between him and the other boys. Some of them didn't understand why Sam had made such a big deal about things. Others secretly agreed with him, but were too scared to say anything. On the day of the championship game, the gym was packed with people. The whole town had come out to watch. The air was thick with excitement and tension, and Sam could feel the weight of everyone's expectations on his shoulders. As the game began, Sam played with a fire inside him that he had never felt before. Every pass, every shot, every move was filled with purpose. He wasn't just playing for the team, he was playing for something bigger. The game was close, with both teams trading points back and forth. But in the final moments, Sam found himself with the ball in his hands, the clock ticking down, and the score tied. He could feel everyone's eyes on him. The crowd was holding its breath. He dribbled past one defender, then another, making his way to the basket. With only seconds left, Sam took the shot. Time seemed to slow down as the ball sailed through the air. For a moment, everything was silent. And then, with a swoosh, the ball went through the hoop. "You've been playing great, Sam," Mr. Davis said, smiling warmly. "I wanted to talk to you about something." Sam felt a flicker of nervousness. "What's that, coach?" Mr. Davis crossed his arms, looking thoughtful. "There's a summer basketball camp coming up. It's run by some former college players, and scouts from different high schools will be there. I think you'd be a great fit." Sam's eyes widened. "A basketball camp? With scouts?" Mr. Davis nodded. "Yeah, it's a big opportunity, Sam. You've got talent, and this could be your chance to take things to the next level." Sam's heart raced with excitement, but then a thought crossed his mind. Would Coach Anderson support this? Would the school even care about what he did outside of their team? "I don't know," Sam said hesitantly. Do you think Coach Anderson would even want me to go? I'm not exactly his favorite player." Mr. Davis smiled, placing a hand on Sam's shoulder. "This isn't about Coach Anderson. This is about you. You've proven you belong on that court, and you don't need anyone's permission to follow your dreams." Sam thought about it for a moment, feeling a rush of excitement and nervousness all at once. This could be his big break, a chance to show what he was capable of beyond Maplewood. "I'll talk to my mom about it," Sam said, smiling. "Thanks, Coach." As Sam walked home that evening, he couldn't stop thinking about the camp. It felt like everything he had worked for was finally leading somewhere, like the door to a new future was opening up. But deep down, Sam knew that with this new opportunity came new challenges. He was stepping into a bigger world, and while he had faced down Coach Anderson and players like Ethan, he knew that not everyone would be as supportive as Mr. Davis. That night, as Sam lay in bed, he thought about everything he had been through. The rejection, the unfairness, the moments when he had doubted himself. But now he had a chance to show everyone, not just in Maplewood, but beyond, that he was more than just a kid from the wrong side of town. Sam drifted off to sleep, feeling a sense of hope and determination. The journey ahead wouldn't be easy, but he was ready. The game wasn't over yet. The excitement of the upcoming basketball camp lingered in Sam's mind for the next few days. He couldn't wait to tell his mom, but he also wanted to make sure it was something they could afford. After dinner one evening, he sat down with his mom in the living room, nervously tapping his fingers on the arm of the couch. "Mom, there's something I need to talk to you about," Sam started, trying to sound as calm as possible. His mom, Sandra, looked up from her book with a warm smile. "Of course, honey. What is it?" Sam took a deep breath and explained everything about the camp. The scouts, the opportunity to play in front of high school coaches, and how Mr. Davis believed it could be a big break for him. Sandra listened carefully, her expression shifting from curiosity to concern. When Sam finished, she placed her hand gently on his knee. "Sam, that sounds amazing. I know how much basketball means to you," she said softly. "But how much does this camp cost?" Sam bit his lip. He had expected this question. "It's not cheap," he admitted. "But Mr. Davis said there might be scholarships for kids who can't afford it. I really want to go, Mom. This could be my chance to show people what I can do." Sandra looked at her son, her heart swelling with pride but also a twinge of worry. Times had been tough, and money was always tight, but she had seen how hard Sam worked, how much this meant to him. She didn't want to stand in the way of his dreams. "Let me look into the scholarships," Sandra said after a moment. "And if there's a way, we'll make it happen. You deserve this, Sam. You've worked so hard, and I want you to have every chance to succeed." Sam grinned, relief washing over him. "Thanks, Mom. I promise I'll do whatever I can to help. I'll even get a part-time job if I need to." Sandra smiled. "Let's take it one step at a time, okay? I'll talk to Mr. Davis about the scholarships tomorrow." That night, Sam lay in bed feeling hopeful. For the first time in a long while, it felt like everything was falling into place. The camp could be his ticket to something bigger, a future where his talent was recognized and not ignored because of where he came from or how he looked. The next few weeks flew by as Sam prepared for camp. Mr. Davis was able to secure him a scholarship, covering most of the cost, and Sam threw himself into training, determined to be at his best when he got there. He worked harder than ever, practicing every day after school with Marcus and even staying late after youth league games to get in extra drills. But as the camp date drew closer, Sam began to feel a sense of unease. Maplewood might have been a small town, but it had its share of challenges. The basketball camp, on the other hand, was going to bring kids from all over the state. Kids who came from bigger cities with better training and with coaches who believed in them from the start. What if he wasn't good enough? What if everything he had worked for wasn't enough to stand out among the best players in the state? One afternoon, while Sam was practicing free throws in the gym, Mr. Davis walked in. He watched Sam for a few minutes before calling out, "You're getting better every day, Sam." Sam turned, a little startled but pleased to see his coach. "Thanks, Coach. I've been trying to get ready for the camp." Mr. Davis walked over and stood next to Sam, watching as he sank another free throw. "You've got the talent, Sam. Don't doubt that. But I've been around long enough to know that talent alone isn't always enough to get where you want to go." Sam paused, lowering the ball. "What do you mean?" Mr. Davis crossed his arms, his voice lowering. "You're going to face kids at that camp who've had every advantage. Better training, better facilities, and parents who've paid for private coaches their whole lives. But here's the thing, you've got something they don't." Sam looked at his coach, puzzled. "What's that?" "Heart," Mr. Davis said simply. "You've had to fight for everything. That's going to give you an edge they don't have. Don't go into that camp thinking you're less than anyone else. You've earned your place there, and now it's time to show them what you're made of." Sam nodded, feeling the weight of Mr. Davis's words sink in. He had spent so much time worrying about not being good enough that he had forgotten how far he'd come. He had faced adversity before. He could do it again. The day of the basketball camp finally arrived, and Sam found himself standing outside the gym, staring up at the massive building. His stomach was in knots, but he tried to shake off the nerves. He was here for a reason. Inside, the gym was buzzing with activity. Kids from all over were warming up, stretching, and shooting hoops. Sam felt out of place at first, surrounded by players who seemed taller, stronger, and more confident. But then he remembered what Mr. Davis had told him. This was his chance to show what he was made of. The first few days of camp were intense. The coaches ran them through drills, evaluated their skills, and pushed them to their limits. Sam struggled at times, especially when he saw kids who could dunk with ease or hit three-pointers from the half-court line. But he didn't let that discourage him. He worked harder than ever, using his speed and agility to outmaneuver his opponents and his determination to make up for any gaps in skill. By the end of the week, Sam had caught the attention of one of the scouts, a former college player named Coach Wilson. Coach Wilson had been watching Sam closely, impressed by his grit and work ethic. After one particularly tough scrimmage, where Sam had outplayed a much taller and stronger opponent, Coach Wilson pulled him aside. "You've got potential, kid," Coach Wilson said, his eyes serious but kind. "I've been watching you all week, and you don't back down from a challenge. That's something I like to see." Sam blinked, surprised but excited. "Thank you, Coach." Coach Wilson crossed his arms, studying Sam carefully. "I'm going to keep an eye on you, but I'll tell you this, you're going to have to work twice as hard as some of the other kids here. You've got the heart, but the road ahead isn't going to be easy." Sam nodded, his determination burning even brighter. "I'm ready for it." As the camp came to a close, Sam felt proud of how far he had come. He had held his own against some of the best players in the state, and Coach Wilson's words had given him hope that this was just the beginning. But there was one more surprise waiting for Sam. On the last day of camp, as the awards and recognitions were being handed out, Coach Wilson stood at the front of the gym, holding a clipboard. He called out the names of the players who had caught the attention of the scouts, and Sam's heart raced as he listened to each name, hoping to hear his. Then finally, Coach Wilson smiled and said, "And last but not least, Sam Jefferson." The gym erupted in applause as Sam stood frozen in place, hardly able to believe what he had heard. He had done it. He had proved that he belonged. As Sam walked up to accept his recognition, Coach Wilson gave him a firm handshake. "Keep working hard, Sam. You've got a bright future ahead of you." Sam smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment wash over him. This was just the start. He knew there were still challenges ahead, but now he had the confidence to face them head-on. When Sam returned home to Maplewood, things had changed for him, but they hadn't changed for everyone. Ethan was still there, still bitter, still trying to hold on to the past. But Sam didn't let that bother him anymore. He had bigger goals now, and nothing was going to stand in his way. The next season at school, Sam walked into the gym for tryouts with his head held high. This time, he didn't care about Coach Anderson's opinion or whether Ethan still thought he didn't belong. Sam knew his worth now, and he played with a fire inside him that couldn't be ignored. By the end of tryouts, it was clear. Sam had earned his spot on the team. But more importantly, he had earned the respect of everyone who had once doubted him. As the season kicked off, Sam led his team with grace, skill, and heart. Coach Anderson had changed too. Whether it was from guilt or respect, no one knew for sure. But he treated Sam differently now, giving him the opportunities he had been denied before. And as for Ethan, he eventually faded into the background, unable to keep up with Sam's growing success. Sam's journey wasn't over, it was just beginning. But now, with every game, every shot, and every victory, he was building a future not just for himself, but for every kid in Maplewood who had ever been told they weren't enough. Sam had proven that talent wasn't defined by where you came from or the color of your skin. It was about heart, determination, and never giving up on your dreams. And for Sam, that was the most important victory of all. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story and want to see more inspiring content, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you'll be the first to know when we post new videos. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below, and feel free to share this video with your friends. Stay tuned for more amazing stories.